On the surface, not even going into the deeper level aspect of this, it's dope, man. It's dope because you have this whole battle aspect that's been missing for a while in hip hop. Two of the top dogs in hip hop going at it, and Drake and Kendrick, so it's dope. But it's always important for us to dig deeper into these things because that's what's being conveyed to you. It's just not being conveyed to you overtly, but you just got to pick up on it. Just like any other thing that's in our faces, that's disseminated to us. You just got to pick up on it. You see the color scheme representing, like I said, the black mass or pan. They always got to show you these type of colors. And also, the dog representing Anubis. Also going into the glove and how it has many different entendres. And it's kind of like what Drake asked for because Drake said you better have many different entendres. You better have quintuple entendre. And Kendrick Lamar, he pretty much gave him that with all these different type of entendres and how certain things in the images relate to something. And also, Kendrick Lamar said that these images trouble you. So this image right here shows Drake's prescription, his Ozempic prescription, as well as images that kind of like allude to Drake or Michael Jackson, that being what Drake calls himself, or OJ Simpson and how that's connected to this whole beef. Just connected in a certain way, esoterically, just when it comes to the numbers and how it's aligned with the GOAT, you know, because 7 and 6, that's the age that OJ Simpson died, like I said. And you have 7 and 6 being on the cover for Push Ups, Drake's song. So 616, 7 6, all these different numbers. Numbers matter in the entertainment industry because it represents who they venerate. That's what it's all about. Alchemist, he plays a role in this because Alchemist is a Kabbalist. Alchemist is a big time Luciferian who calls himself a Jew, but he's just a Kabbalist, he's a Talmudist. He represents the synagogue, those who dwell in the synagogues of Satan. That's Alchemist. Dope ass producer, one of my favorite producers of all time. Might be my favorite of all time, but I'm not a fan, so I don't. It's no horse in the race for me. I just speak based off of what I understand, and also my appreciation for rap and hip hop, and just the creativity of these artists. I love artistry. I love music. I'm a big time rap fan. I rap myself. I write poetry, so this is big for me. But at the same time, I understand what world we live in and what I see. So this stuff is all esoteric, it's all Masonic, it's all Luciferian. That's just what it is. Kendrick Lamar, he's not no saint. Obviously, Drake ain't no saint. I ain't even no damn saint. But I understand what's best for me and what's right. These people, even if Kendrick Lamar, he may understand what's right, but at the end of the day, they choose to be a part of a world that's contrary to what we stand on. It just is what it is. Even the Kendrick Lamar who says that he's an Israelite, he's not living up to the standard of what it means to be an Israelite, is he? No, he's not. He's calling himself God. He's calling himself the Elohim and all this nonsense. So he's someone who's infracted upon the Heavenly Father, and that's just what it is. But I'm not God, so it's not my judgment. But at the same time, I understand what's right because the Heavenly Father blessed me with the ability to discern what's right and wrong based off of the position I'm supposed to be upholding, which is to judge and righteousness, righteously, right? So that's one of those things that we must maintain in regards to our understanding of who we are. We judge righteously, but doesn't mean that we have to always necessarily like overtly judge someone. It's just that it's something that's in us to judge because we're naturally supposed to be that way. But in this world, it's one of those things where sometimes you got to conceal it or sometimes you got to utilize certain discernful tactics. You feel what I'm saying? Not to digress. I feel like I'm digressing a little bit, but it is what it is. I don't care. It's my channel. It's my video. I like to just go into different spills, but it's always connected with what I'm bringing out anyway. Point is, this whole thing is all Luciferian, but it is entertaining, so that's a good thing in this. But always make sure you don't really get caught up in this whole phenomenon, this whole fanboy shit like a lot of these people do. We must utilize discernment and understand how to look at things in proper perspective. This is a tweet from The Alchemist, a producer. He says your favorite rapper may be suffering from Ozempic face. It's just crazy that this tweet came before this whole phenomenon around the distance between Drake and Kendrick Lamar at this moment on May 3rd, 2024. This is from April 22nd. So the predictive aspect is stark, and I'm not saying that to be on some quote unquote conspiracy shit, because a lot of people conflate these things with being a quote unquote conspiracy theorist. It's just knowledge, it's my understanding of what I know about the industry in regards to context and how you piece things together, just when it comes to certain connections, whether it be underlying or, overt. So it's very important for us to put things in proper context, especially when we understand the spiritual aspect. All this shit is esoteric. All this shit is Masonic. This is the Truman Show. This is all a stage. This is all for entertainment. But I just wanted to go into certain connections in regards to, certain things that I found in this overall battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. So you look at this tweet right here. It says your favorite rapper may be suffering from Ozempic face. It's just weird, this whole push with Ozempic. It's like you could tell that there's more than meets the eye with certain things, because they go to great lengths to push it. You hear about Ozempic on the song from Drake, Family Matters. You hear Ozempic from Kendrick Lamar's song that's in response to Family Matters. So the whole Ozempic thing is weird. And the reason why I'm pulling this up is because this lets you know that, that song by Kendrick Lamar, Meet the Grams, it was already recorded. So all these tracks already been set up. You feel what I'm saying? For it to play out, in this day. And it all kicked off April 30th, segue into May 1st. And May 1st is for Beltane. So there's always a great event on May 1st. You know what I mean? But Alchemist produced the song Meet the Grams by Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick Lamar mentions Ozempic. And, that's in response to the mention of Ozempic by Drake talking about Rick Ross. And the funny thing about the cover art for Meet the Grams is you have a prescription, some sort of drug prescription from a pharmacy in the picture of the cover art, where it has Drake's real name, for a prescription for Ozempic. So it's just kind of weird, that all this stuff, comes full circle. But it's full circle based off of how all this shit is pretty much pre-planned. You know what I mean? For the whole push of Ozempic, Kendrick Lamar's 616 in LA, where it references multiple things numerologically in regards to the whole 6-6 aspect that I touched on in my last video. He continues it. So this lets you know that I'm not reaching. Like, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the esoteric numerological bent. 6-6 represents the GOAT. So he releases the song 616. Like, come on. And it has many different references when it comes to 616. Tupac's birthday is 616. 616 is also Father's Day in Canada, so it's like a play on I'm talking to you as a father. And then you also have the aspect of 616 being the date of the trial in 1994, and June 16, 1994, excuse me. And also, I think June 16 was the day that she was killed, or was it 16 a.m.? Something like that. Just in regards to the whole OJ trial and the woman, Nicole Brown. I think she was reported dead June 16th, or was it 616? It was 616, and was some sort of relevance to Nicole Brown. So the point is, all these things have connections, but it's purposeful, because OJ, right? He passed away last month. And from that, you have the cover art for Drake's video, for Drake's song Push Ups. And on that song, you see the first two numbers, which is 7 and 6. 7-6 represents the GOAT. O.J. Simpson died at the age of 7-6. So you have that connection there. When you look at the cover art for Meet the Grams and 616 in LA, which is pretty much the same image, Kendrick Lamar just crops it in the first image to then show it in the next image in regards to the two tracks. The first one being 616, the next one being Meet the Grams. Pretty much the same image, but like I said, one is cropped and one is more extended to show the full image of the cover. All these things are connected. The cover art is red, black, and white. Let you know what that's really an allusion to, as well as, the requirements in regards to covering bases esoterically. They have to. They have to. And mind you, on the beginning of the song 616 in LA, what does he say? He says he's a sun seeker. So it continues to play on that theme of Kendrick Lamar being the sun god, going against the serpent, or the dragon, that being Drake, trying to take down the serpent, or the final boss per se. And Drake, he calls Kendrick Lamar the Black Messiah. So once again, it's playing on that theme of what I laid out in the beginning, or my other video. Kendrick plays the role of so-called Christ, but Christ on the left hand, who is pretty much the sun god. Drake playing the role of Set, or the scorpion, or that entity that represents that sly, evil cunningness, the serpent. So I just wanted to continue more on into this whole little battle. So you also have the biblical element, because this is something that a lot of people are touching on. And Kendrick Lamar is someone who plays the role of a devout Christian who's connected to Christ, but he also blasphemes because he calls himself God. He calls himself Christ, or at least that's what he lost himself to be. He calls himself the Elohim and all this nonsense. He's a Luciferian. That's all he is. But I'm not taking away anything from his talents, his creativity, and what he conveys, because he's very, 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 very sharp just when it comes to his talents. But at the same time, he is compromised, and he let you know that on the album Damn. His album Damn, the reason why that album is so great is because of the revelations in it, especially in regards to the understanding that, so-called blacks are Israelites. That's just the truth. But also the fact that he letting you know he's damned either way, because he's compromised. He's in the industry. And you already know you cannot drink of the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You just cannot. Kendrick Lamar conveys this. He conveys this on the album. Damn. If you listen to that album, like, that shit is so dense. It's so layered. But it's a beautiful album because of just the overall execution of it and what he's conveying. Especially how it relates to people that the Most High blessed with the knowledge, but some of those people, they forsaken it. Kendrick Lamar let you know that he's forsaken it in a sly way, because he's a part of the industry. He didn't forsake it in the way that regular people would forsake the Bible, in terms of just not adhering to it. He forsook it in a way where he knows he's compromised, but he still has to play this role and try to put on, like, on the surface, that he's a follower of God and he's, a devout Christian and all this. But at the same time, he's letting you know he has an auntie that's a man and all these different things. So it's like, come on, man, we know what it is. But I just wanted to go into this element numerologically in regards to the song 616 in LA, and how it relates to the biblical aspect because of the target, that being Drake. So it's just very telling that he has these numbers, because it has many different references. So Proverbs 6 and 16, these 6 things doth the Lord hate. So you have the list of the 6 things that the Most High detests, that he hates, right? Proverbs 6 and 16. What Kendrick Lamar is doing is really conveying the numerological bent on the esoteric level, where the Most High lists out 6 things that he hates, 7 being an abomination to him, and also 616. So it's like 666. So he's using this biblical bent to push a Luciferianism just in a surreptitious way. Proverbs 6 and 16, and then the Most High listing out the 6 things that he hates. And then also Drake, that being the 6th God and that nonsense, right? So all this stuff is all, it's all intertwined. It's all under the umbrella of Luciferian underlining connections and undertones, as well as overt. These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift and run into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. My son, keep my father's commandments, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Yeah, so it's very important for us to understand, man. Just in regards to the understanding of the commandments, but just going into the verses, this definitely relates to Drake. Just in the context of this battle between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. As far as what Kendrick Lamar says about Drake on certain songs, just when it comes to this battle, whether it be Euphoria or the latest song, Meet the Grams, this pretty much follows that theme. Just in regards to these verses here from 16 to 20 or 16 to 19. And mind you, right, June 16, 2019, that was the premiere of Drake's produced show Euphoria. And then you have these verses from verses 16 through 19. So all this stuff is esoteric. Esoteric, what does that mean? It just means hidden knowledge, the undertone of what is conveyed esoterically, or excuse me, masonically. Nicole Brown Simpson, date of burial, June 16, aka 616, continuing on in that theme, going back to Kendrick Lamar's conveyance in regards to the art and the meaning, the hidden meanings. The entendres revolved around the title of the song, 616 in LA. That was the funeral for Nicole Brown Simpson. And also, it's just funny because, Brentwood, that's in LA. So all this stuff is connected. Like I laid out before, OJ Simpson, he died at the age of 76. When you look at the cover art for Drake's Push Up single, you have the numbers 7 and 6, which pretty much mimics like the shoe size and whatnot, but it's esoteric. The numerological significance is there. 7 and 6 represents the GOAT. And that's what they're fighting over in regards to Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, that GOAT supremacy. But it's more about the esotericism when it comes to that GOAT thing. It's kind of like the same thing with um, LeBron and Jordan, almost, because there's no age difference. Like Drake and Kendrick pretty much the same age. But yeah, man, you have this 616, which goes into the entendres because there's many different meanings to the title of the Kendrick Lamar song. And it's funny because, not to digress, but when you think about these underlying connections and how they relate to things from 10, 20, 30 years ago, 2024 is a year that's pretty much related or parallel to 1994, just in regards to certain events like the earthquake that took place in 1994 in New York. Same thing happened in 2024. And someone else has said this before. It's just interesting that a lot of people are starting to wake up to these things and these connections and whatnot. And also, this whole situation playing out in 1994, right? You know, and then you have the situation that took place with OJ Simpson in 2024. So these things, it's kind of like a mirroring of each other in regards to certain events that took place about 30 years ago, 20 years ago. So 1994, the New York Knicks, they made it to the finals. They lost. And I believe in 2024, we will see the New York Knicks lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 2024 NBA Finals. That's what I believe. At first, I had Phoenix just because of my connections with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and how it related to this basketball player named Devin Durant who played for the Phoenix Suns. But, it was more layered than that. So I was wrong on that assumption or presumption. But at the same time, it's always important for us to understand the relevancy of these things because it's always there, whether you can pick it up or not. And I guess I just didn't pick it up, until I was able to really come to certain conclusions based off of my findings, my extensive research, as well as certain people, helping me because it's like one of those things where great minds think alike. A lot of people are starting to understand what's really going on out here. Just when it comes to this world being a fucking stage and us living in this Truman Show. Right? So, very important for us to understand what world we live in. 20 years ago, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. I believe they will make it to the Western Conference Finals this year to face the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. So, it's one of those things that's just interesting, but I'm kind of digressing talking about basketball. I want to get more into this whole Kendrick Lamar versus Drake thing just when it comes to the esoteric bent because that's what's relevant in regards to the understanding. You always want to maintain your understanding on that level because that's That's what's more important. The surface level shit is just for little kids and fanboys and shit. It's always important to understand the esoteric bent because that's what's more important. That's how you really understand what's going on. You see from the Heart Part 5 video from Kendrick Lamar where he went into deep fakes, it was pretty much a play on like soul swapping. Kendrick Lamar is a Luciferian. He just is. He goes into backmasking, soul swapping, blasphemy. He tries to be Christ. Remember the whole thing with the whole Godspeed for women's rights? We had the crown of thorns on his head with the blood on him. Just a total blasphemer, bro. In these last days, they showing you these people shall mock Christ. They shall claim to be Christ, call themselves gods. That's what they do. They want to be God so bad. Right? You see the whole deep fake with OJ Simpson there. It's kind of like some sort of like predictive aspect where, it's going into what we see now when it comes to the numerological significance connected with the battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar in regards to the GOAT. This was 2 years ago where Kendrick Lamar put this video out, the red, black, and white, and you see the colors, you know, everything covered just in regards to the Luciferian bent. Kendrick Lamar is a Luciferian. That's what he is. But he plays on this in regards to the surface level conveyance of what the meaning of the album is in regards to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Because it just goes into how one defeats themselves based off of shared trauma and shared grief and shared experiences that's mutually affecting the majority of people on this earth. That's why Kendrick Lamar, he says, I am all of us. Right here it says, I am all of us, because it goes into like shared grief. Worldwide Steppers, right? That's the name of the song on this album, Worldwide Steppers. It's pretty much a play on how the things that the majority of us partake in is defeating us because we live in a cesspool full of lies, a cesspool full of confusion. So it's like, I am all of you. I'm Mr. Morale. Like, I'm the guy that's the reason to all this madness, even though I'm mad, even though I'm insane, even though I'm someone who's a Luciferian. So Kendrick Lamar conveys many different aspects of living in his quote unquote truth and how he justifies it and uses it as a ways to shirk off any sort of understanding that has to do with righteousness. That's why if you listen to the album, he goes on to say, forget about biblical foundations. For the most part, he pretty much, disavows biblical foundation. It's on the song, I think it's on the song Auntie Diaries where he goes into it. I can't remember because I don't go back to that song. I just can't listen to that song again. But I remember him going into it on that song where he talks about how, that whole Christianity nonsense is something we got to rethink. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's him going into that progressive aspect. That's why he plays the role of someone who dies on damn, because it's him letting you know that I sold out. Pretty much, you get what I'm saying? Like, he's letting you know that he sold out on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. If you really understand what that song is, that album is about, it's layers to that album, but the overall meaning is, the God is in you. So you make up your own definitions of what right and wrong is. That's why it says, I am all of us. What is that a play on? I am. That's a play on the Most High, God. But not just the Most High, just the understanding of what the word God means. Or just God. Just God. Right? So he's saying, I am all of us. God is in all of us. I am you as well. On the album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, what does he say? Like, what's the last song? The last song is Mirror. Kodak Black, he says before the song Mirror, I choose me. And after the last song Mirror, it goes into the Heart Part 5 because it's supposed to play on that cohesion of the subject matter. Okay, I choose me after all this pain and suffering and trying to be this savior figure for my people. At the end of the day, I gotta heal myself. I gotta heal me before I heal the world. So it's like I choose me, but from that he goes on to say, but I want you to accept me. That's the heart part 5. I want you to want me too, right? And also to play on I am all of you. I want you to want me because I am you. That's a surface, but the deeper level aspect of it is, you your own God. You establish your own laws of right and wrong. That's why you got songs like Auntie Diary on there. That's why you got those type of songs and him pretty much letting you know, yeah, I took the COVID vaccine. It's pretty much him letting you know he sold out. I'm not your savior because I'm not perfect. I've done things that lets you know that I'm compromised. That's what Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is about. It's more to it than that, but that's what it's about. The reason why I'm adding this into it is because of the whole OJ context. So let's get more into it. Now, why am I showing the cover art for Tootsie Slide from Drake? Well, obviously, for many different reasons. You see right here Drake throwing up the 6, the Yoni, just representing what he venerates. It's just so sad that a lot of people don't pick up on these things. It's right in front of your damn face. But the reason why I'm showing this is because them gloves that you see on the cover art for Kendrick Lamar's 616 in LA is not the same gloves from Drake in this Tootsie Slide video, but it's in reference to it. It's in reference to it. Why? Because in this video for Tootsie Slide, Drake is pretty much like playing on that whole Michael Jackson theme, right? So that's why the glove is used for 616 in LA. That's part of the reason why the glove is used, because there's many different entendres. Remember Drake, he said on a Taylor Made song that he want Kendrick Lamar to give him quintuple entendres and all these different entendres. And that's what Kendrick is doing. He's playing on that. So the glove thing is a play on OJ, is a play on Drake wearing it in the Tootsie Slide video, because it's also in connection with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is famous for the glove. You have MM on the glove, which on the surface for Maybach Mercedes, but it's really meant for Master Mason. That's what it's meant for. Believe it or not, it's meant for Master Mason. That's what it's meant for. And then you also have the color scheme, which is black, red, and white. None of this stuff is coincidental. It's on purpose. Especially the colors. They always have to include those colors. Remember when Kendrick Lamar came back, like he made his comeback in that video, The Heart Part 5. What was the color scheme? The color scheme was black, red, and white. Whenever you make an introduction or reintroduction or premiere or what have you, for the most part, the aesthetic, the colors are always going to be black, red, and white, or black, red, or white. It's always going to be like that because they venerate Pan, and it goes into the worship of, or the practice of the black mass, which is pretty much a mockery of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, aka so-called Christ. And you see the color, the yellow, for the logo Tootsie Slide. None of this stuff is coincidental. Colors, all that stuff, it means something. Believe it or not, it means something. The color represents, obviously, the understanding of the sun god worship, veneration, Horus, so on and so forth. On the surface, it's a dope chess move from Kendrick to reply to Drake after he dropped Family Matters. He pretty much replied to Drake an hour after he dropped it. Even though a lot of people, if you're in your right mind and you understand what's going on, that most of these songs were pre-recorded. All these songs pretty much were planned to drop. Like it's not like some organic shit where Kendrick just responded, "Let me make a song." No, the shit has already been recorded. But that's kind of like beside from the point. I just wanted to go into this image just to bring it home in regards to the context. The gloves has many different entendres, as well as not with entendres in regards to, as well as what you see right here with the pills and how that relates to Drake, because those are Drake's prescriptions. Ozempic prescriptions, and also how it relates to the whole sex ring accusations or allegations to Drake. And I believe it to be true because that's big in the entertainment industry. So that was a revelation from Kendrick where he talks about Drake having a sex ring in his home with OVO, sex offenders. It's just crazy, but that's the entertainment industry. Like all these people, they are part of that type of world, that demonic world. So the song being produced by Alchemist says a lot too, because Alchemist, He's, what the name is. He's an alchemist. He's a big time Luciferian who's, he's a Jew. He purports to be a Jew, but we already know when it comes to so-called Caucasians who say they're Jews, it's just pretty much them letting you know that they dwell in the synagogues. They live up to what it says in Revelation, and also in the understanding of them being Ashkenazis or Talmudic Jews, Jews who adhere to, you know, Kabbalism and whatnot. That's what alchemist is. He's not a real Jew who adheres to like the Torah and whatnot. And even those people who adhere to the Torah, obviously we know that they're not the real Jews, but I don't even want to go into that. I just wanted to point that out in regards to alchemists because, it plays into this whole aspect of the Drake thing because Drake is quote unquote Jewish, right? And also, Alchemist produced a song where Kendrick Lamar makes a revelation that, he's an Israelite. Or at least his cousin does, because Kendrick Lamar, he did a song called "Yeah." That song is not produced by Alchemist, but on the song "Fear," which is more, in depth in regards to the understanding of Kendrick Lamar's conveyance going into the Israelites. Alchemist produced that song, and Alchemist is someone who claims to be a quote unquote Jew. So it's just very interesting, and we already know Drake, he's a so called Jew, but in reality, he's an Israelite because his dad is an Israelite. But that's, beside from the point. I just wanted to go into this image right here because of just how it all. Nah, I don't like what I'm saying.